We're from, like, most of my family was from Chicago. What was it, Ray?
It's getting late. I'm gonna clearly say the
You're stuck in the middle.
Well, it's that high.
I don't think it's the same.
Oh, wait, how do you go to the Bronx, Cologne? With the word
All righty, can we just stand for the pledge, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone can just take a second, make sure that their cell phones are off or on silent. That would be great. We are going to change our agenda around a little here. We have Eric Hansen here, which is a hydrogeologist. We've been waiting a little while to have somebody come here and speak to us. So at this time, I have Ryan from Casey Engineering. Please, by all means.
Thanks, Chad. So just want to give you guys a quick introduction. My name is Ryan McGuire. I'm with KC Engineering. We've been with the town as a town engineer for, I believe, 3 to 4 years at this point. I'm a local person. I grew up in Middletown, just outside of Middletown, and I've been throughout the entire town of Mount Polk throughout my childhood. But Chad asked us here tonight. You guys have had some questions with regards to the city of Middletown and the Indigo watershed and withdrawal of the waters from the town of Mount Hope to be exported to the city of Middletown or anybody else the county may decide. So we have teamed up with Mr. Van Vliet. I'm here with Mr. Eric Hansen. We've worked with him extensively with the town of Walkville on their water system development, their hydrogeological services, and similar projects to this. So really, we don't have too much information. We've just maintained, but we wanted to come and introduce ourselves and just give you a face that we're working with the town, and that we can try to help you out. So I'll just give Eric a few minutes to introduce himself. And
sure.
If you guys have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Eric Hansen. I've been a hydrogeologist now for 40 years. I've been working in the town of Walkville since 1986, studying the aquifers of Orange County and areas around it. So I'm well familiar with all the regulations and methods of avoiding disposition in terms of what we have to do in terms of how to solve your problems and work them through. Do you have any questions?
Well, I think, Eric, what the situation we have is, I feel as if the town found out very, very late as to exactly what was going on. There were actually newspaper articles before the town was actually told exactly what was going on with the Indigo. And I think as a regular resident, you can't, well, we can't figure out what 1 million gallons a day is. That's the lucky number that we keep hearing. We keep hearing Amy's Kitchen in Goshen requires this type of water, municipal water, and it's going to be 1 million gallons a day in order to run their facility. Now, the piping is going to go past several other businesses that don't have running water. They only have well water. So concern number one is the 1 million gallons going to turn into 2 million gallons? Another concern is with the incoming thought of Goshen getting Legoland. We were told that Goshen didn't have enough water to give Amy's Kitchen. So we don't see how Goshen would have enough water to give to Legoland. So a lot of our residents are, I think, more scared than anything, just because we have no idea what the process is. How are we protected? And several months ago, when David wrote our bid package, hydrogeologists seemed as if that was the route we should go to make sure that all of our interests were protected. So I hope that kind of fills you in a little bit. I mean, I think it's more, we're scared, and we don't know exactly what's gonna happen to our, you know, you hear the term collateral damage a lot, and I mean, you know, 800 jobs versus 100 people losing their wells. Is that, it's not a collateral damage that we want, so we want to do everything in our power to protect all of the residents that live here.
Well, in terms of the process, normally what the county will do first is do whatever testing they're required to do underneath state law. And those processes are drilling wells and doing pump tests and doing analysis of how big the cone of depression is around the wells, determine what kind of impacts they're gonna have. They normally at that point will file for WSA, which is a water supply application in the state of New York for DEC. And the town is gonna have and want to be a party of interest to that, because that's where the state of the DEC actually determines what the impacts are surrounding the well field of which the county is proposing to put in. And that process generally is gonna, the county is gonna be submitting a very large amount of paperwork, you know, of all the pump test results and things of that nature, which they're gonna need for their permitting. And the town is gonna wanna review those reports. It's gonna wanna become a party of interest to the application, the permit from DEC. And also, as soon as that permit is granted, then the Department of Health does the exact same thing back to back in their plan approval process. And the Department of Health also has, but in realizing, of course, the Department of Health in Orange County is a county office, not the state office. So they're gonna be doing the same thing. In which case, you're gonna have two opportunities to be in front of the regulatory agencies. There's also the seeker requirements that have to be met. You're gonna wanna be part of the seeker. And that's gonna be done by, I'm assuming the town or the county or the city, whoever is declared the primary agency.
Yeah, the lead agency is City of Middletown, and that was also one of our concerns, was because they're the ones actually taking the water. The two administrative meetings that I attended, the first one I attended, myself and Red Hosan from Greenville, we voiced our concerns, and they basically told us they had the votes that they needed. Thanks, have a nice day. So it's obviously not the answer that we want to hear.
They're gonna try to make that as fast as they can.
Yep.
Now, the thing to remember though, the city of Middletown, they represent the city residents of Middletown. And if the city residents of Middletown don't have a water need, you have rights to contest this. I mean, all they're doing is taking water from one town and selling it to another town that's not even involved with the residents of Middletown.
Okay.
So there becomes a use problem here, because in WSA, you have to show improved use, you need, or need for the water. So it's one of those things, like I said, there's a lot of ways to get involved in this, and a lot of questions that has to be answered by all the parties to show that it's really the best benefit for everybody involved.
Okay. At this time, does anyone from the audience have any questions? We're not gonna do it during public participation. These guys are gonna leave as soon as we're done with this segment. So like I said, we're gonna change it around a little.
I have
Jerry,
one quick question.
oh, go ahead, Tom.
Supposing they go through the process of permitting with the DEC, the DEC grants them a permit for 1 million gallons a day. How hard is it for them 2 years down the road to up that to 2 million gallons a day?
It's not.
It's not.
No, they can apply as many times as they want and up that as many times as they care to, as long as their information shows they can pull the water.
Who would regulate or supervise that they actually are pulling their million or less, or whatever their threshold is?
It's all internal. I mean, it's up to the city to show that they're not pumping more than their permit levels. There is nobody looking over their shoulders.
And they have to report the daily data or the weekly data to the DEC on their
Posted
permit?
their, well, the yearly.
Monthly or
They have to submit yearly DEC.
But you self-report.
Jerry was first. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah. Hi, Eric. I'm Jerry Cook.
How you doing?
Pretty good. We had a severe drought over the summer, and I took pictures of the reservoir.
Yep.
And it was down like 14 feet. So one of my concerns is, like I understand Amy's Kitchen was 275,000 gallons a day they were looking for. But even that deal, it might be another company involved with that now. But they were looking at the surface water. So my concern is if it's a drought, if the reservoir level is down that low, and that's after, let's say, 250 days of the year went by, just how low would the reservoir get? And therefore, would that water level impact all the shallow, because a lot of this town is shallow wells, especially in the Indigo.
Yes, I mean, the drought was significant enough that I was getting a little nervous on the levels in some of the Walkill wells, because they were down 10 feet, 5 feet, in a lot of places over normal. So what happens in a drought scenario, the best way to look at this, is the whole regional groundwater table drops. And what that means is that anybody with a shallow well is gonna see it first. When they're pulling more and more water, it's pulling out of the same bathtub. I mean, you empty it just quicker. So yes, you're gonna see during a drought, that's when everybody needs the water the most and when there's not a lot around to have. So it's in drought scenarios is when the county's gonna do their testing. They don't do it in drought periods, they do it in normal periods, and then have to try to guess what the drought scenario is based on historical data. That's how we do it.
Yeah.
And you're generally, you know, how low you drop that water table is based on historical information. The problem with that is that we use a 1964 drought as our baseline right now for everything we do in New York State. And the state has gotten a lot bigger since 1964, a lot more people here, a lot more use going on. So it's not generally necessarily the best solution, but it's the only one we have. And the county's gonna do the same thing. So trying to model or predict what's gonna happen in the next drought is a little difficult. But, and that's where exactly where the problems occur, is that you're hoping that your numbers are correct, but you got no way of verifying that.
I have like 2 or 3 questions,
Go ahead.
Can I just go with them?
Yeah, keep
Yeah.
going.
Thank you very much, Andy. As far as, let's say, they have a test well is on Murray Road on the same reservoir I'm referring to. So the interconnectedness of the groundwater versus the surface water, would the lack of surface water impact the pressures of the groundwater, even though they're talking about 600 feet? And would that throw the information off as far as how good it is or not good it is?
Well, the best way to look at it is when you build a reservoir, you've got 100% water storage in a body of water. When you're talking about an aquifer, you're basically talking about a pile of sand and gravel that stores about 30% of its volume of water. And the aquifer generally is much larger than your reservoir, so you've got a much bigger body of water there. The advantage to that is the surface water generally dry right up in droughts, and then your aquifers, you have to, since they're much bigger and fuller, it takes a much longer period of time. So you're wanting to develop an aquifer over surface water if you can do that. The problem with that, when you start pulling heavily on an aquifer during drought, you're lowering the water table for miles in every direction. So you very quickly can start impacting your residents, your neighbors, anybody else, your farms. So it's one of those things you have to be able to have a good drought plan, how you're going to handle it. That not only addresses the water user, in this case Middletown, but also the residents that have to live around this thing. Because they're the ones that get hit first.
Yeah, I got just 2 more quick things. Will that aquifer impact the water supply in Otisville? That's like, are they all interconnected? That's a-
I'd have to look in detail, though. I can't answer that question right now without going out and pulling up my geology maps and looking at them in detail.
Sulfur is not part of the information I think the county was looking at in 2008. In 2008, we also had a bumper year of rain. We had like almost 2 feet above average. That's when they did their testing. And this year, we're up to snuff. But the sulfur would be the expense. It might not be a health problem, but it would be an expense problem for the residents. Is there any way that can be addressed?
Sulfur is one of those things that comes out of the shale bedrock, and it's you know, you smell it more than anything else. It's generally not a health concern, but it makes your life miserable having to smell it all the time.
Yeah.
And it can be treated. I mean, it's a matter of whether or not their pumping is gonna make that good or worse or help depends on a lot of different parameters, and I can't tell you that until I see the reports and look at them in detail. Sometimes by pulling an aquifer down, you pull more water up out of the bedrock and cause your sulfur levels go up. Otherwise, sometimes pulling down makes the surface water from the sides come in and makes the sulfur go down. So it can go either way. And that depends on the reports that they provide, and I've got to look at them to be able to give you an answer on that.
Okay, one more last thing. If there is the million gallons is what they have a legal, I think that's like the max they're allowed to draw, but how it's divvied up is another thing. But you got Amy's Kitchen, Legoland, CPB Power Plant can use this, so a lot of people can use this water. But my concern is, if this water is allowed to be taken, would the underground aquifer develop a favoritism of going, like, with following the flow, let's say, because this million-gallon draw was never there before? And would that impact possible flows to the offshoot, again, back to Otisville, or
Generally not.
even in New Jersey?
Generally not. Water flows in its method, the easiest way it can go to a well, and that's basically, it's gonna pull from whatever recharge sources it has, surface water, rainwater, but every drop you pump out of the ground is gonna come from someplace, and eventually it goes back to rain at some point, where it hits the ground. And how it gets from that point where it hits the ground to the well. It flows some method. And the thing to realize, and I want to make sure everybody realizes, they're applying for 1 million gallons because that's what their need is right now, versus what their clients are asking for water. Okay? In the state of New York, you have to show need. So if you've got a 1 million gallon need, that's what you apply for. Next year, they may have 3 or 4 other people come in and want another additional. So they're gonna go back to DEC a second time and say, well, we need an additional 400,000, and it's gonna go on and on and on forever. Okay, so they're gonna take as much water as they can from you until you scream uncle. And that's the thing to realize. This is just the first, starting point of what the county or the city's gonna wanna take. It depends on the growth of the county.
And the fact that this water draw is all used for corporations, not for people, that's a
Doesn't make
major,
any difference.
doesn't make any difference.
No. Water law in New York is first come, first served. Doesn't matter who it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Angel?
Did you say, sir, that we can contest the fact that perhaps Middletown itself does not need the water?
Yes, because, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so you have to ask,
There's one here.
yeah. So,
No, I'm kidding. I'm not kidding, but.
The state water regs for WSA is based on need. In other words, you just can't come into the state of DEC and ask for a withdrawal permit if you don't need the water. Okay, so you have to show a need. So the city is out on a limb here because they don't have a need. They are simply getting involved here to move water from point A to point C.
Maybe make a little money in between.
They're making money, but making money is not really a water need.
Right, exactly.
That's why
So-
this whole thing is in a gray zone, you know?
I wanna make note that it's being said that Middletown may not.
That's up to the legal people to fight that one, not for me, but all I can say is the rules and regulations here are a little in the foggy zone.
And you said this, contesting that fact alone may not be the only thing that we could have argument on. Could you
Right.
expand on that a
Well,
little bit?
because the town of Mount Hope is going to eventually have its own need for groundwater. Maybe not this year, maybe not 20 years, who knows, maybe 50, I have no idea. That's for you guys to decide how fast you want to grow and where you're going to grow and things of that nature, how fast you want your town to change. But at some point, you're going to need water. And it's going to be awful difficult for you to get it if it's already going all the way to Goshen.
Thank you, and my next question is, you said that when we had a drought, as Jerry mentioned, that our reservoir went down, Walk Hill Reservoir went down. Isn't there an argument there that already during a drought at the present time?
Well, it's an argument in the fact that their reports, when they do their aquifer evaluation, they ask for their taking, they have to consider that.
How is that considered?
Well, normally what you do when you do an aquifer model, you're using a static water level of which your start position, and then when you turn a well on, you form a cone of depression, and how far that draws down tells you how much water you can pump. What a drought does, it lowers your starting point. In other words, instead of having the static of 2 feet below ground, you gotta start 7 feet below ground. That gives you a lot less drawdown room in your well, which means your yield has to go down. Okay, so that's how you calculate those numbers. Your drought scenario numbers are always gonna be lower than your normal numbers.
So that could be an argument.
Right, that during
That we're
drought
already,
conditions,
if we're in a drought, we already.
you have to pump less water, otherwise, if you don't, all you're gonna do is make the cone go out further and further and further, and you're gonna start impacting more and more people.
So that's a second argument.
We have to evaluate everything, we don't know
That's why.
specifically anything about this exact project right now. We know the general conditions and.
Well, I heard him
things
say
along
he
those
has to look at all the.
Yeah, they're gonna file a big pile of reports, and
Have
he's
to
gonna
look
go
at
through them and
the
see,
papers.
did they address this stuff adequately, and do I agree with them?
And if we hire you to do that, is that going to impact our budget at all?
Yes.
I mean, is it going to
No, you can't.
be
Don't worry about it.
multi-million-dollar operation here to have you investigate the situation?
The answer to that is no. I mean, I'm not looking to run this down and nobody else is. It's a matter of what level of safety do you want and what it's gonna cost to give you what you're asking. I mean, all I can do is say, if you want me to review the stack of paperwork, it's gonna take me X number of hours, and
Yeah, well, I understand that, I wouldn't expect you to do nothing to do.
I can always give you a cost estimate on what I'm thinking it's gonna be, and
That would be a good idea, right, Chad?
so,
Full estimate? Once the papers are out?
Can I just ask 2 questions? Do you have another question?
No, I'm done.
The reservoirs, to my understanding, the one Jerry's talking about that's low, to my understanding, how the city of Middletown gets water is that reservoir is filled and it's gravity fed down to Middletown. So anyone that's ever been down by the reservoir, the water department down in Middletown, you see all the water coming up out of the ground and kind of cascade down. That's, to my understanding, how they get water.
They're all pumped from one to the other.
It's pumped from one to the
We
other.
are the lowest reservoir right here.
I didn't know
It's
that.
pumped from this reservoir to the next, until it gets to the river.
Okay, so it's pumped, okay. All right, one more question that I have then. Let's just hypothetically say someone over the border in Sullivan County decides to put a couple wells in and start sucking water out of the ground. That technically could obviously affect the same process that we're asking about here, that they would just be basically sucking our water from a different point.
There'd be another water supply application, and there'd be a whole process.
Okay, but basically they could be sucking out of the water, which is what we're talking about someone else can currently do, correct? Out of the same possible water for you out of the same aquifer? Is that,
it's always possible.
okay,
There's a lot of different towns and communities with the same aquifer, and they live side by side. It really depends on whether or not they're pulling the water out safely.
right, okay.
And that's the whole key. You know, if they're not overproducing and are not cheating and are not taking the water not supposed to be, then the answer is it works. If you get one community that is doing something without knowledge, that's where problems occur.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have a question?
I got one more. In the town of Deer Park, the next, just over the hill, there's plans for a 400-room hotel and 600 apartments going in. I'm concerned if that's also connected, because it's so close to us, to the same water source. So you can bear that in mind also.
Perfect. Thank you both very, very much for coming. Definitely be hearing from us. Thank you very much.
Very informative, thank you very much.
No, I like water. Let the guy do his work. I don't wanna be showering with like a boss.
All right, a motion to accept the minutes from May 15th, 2017.
Make the motion to accept the meeting minutes?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Correspondence, Kathleen?
I have the May impound report from Farmer's Ark. State and municipal facilities program, creation of a youth center, a copy of correspondence regarding that grant. Note from the supervisor's office regarding creating a revenue budget line, budget modification from the highway superintendent. This is interesting. I received on May 31st correspondence from Hidden Valley Water Company that they were going to be flushing the mains in Hidden Valley on May 17th. 2 weeks later, I received it on May 31st.
Done already.
I know. Notice of violation in order to comply from Mr. Smith, Fishman, but we got a copy and you have a copy. A free rabies clinic to be held at the town of Woodbury on Sunday, June 11th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. You have to register with the Woodbury Town Clerk. A public notice of fireworks display to be discussed later, and copies of correspondence that I received from one from Grace Woodard and one from Russ Perez regarding campground music over at the KOA in Deer Park. That's all I have.
I mean, I talked to Paul today about the KOA. Don, who did everyone get it?
Yeah, it was everybody.
Emails, yes.
Okay, I mean, basically, there's a Russian festival there twice a year. The music was loud, but quite honestly, we can't enforce music on the Deer Park side. So even though the music traveled to the Mount side, we don't really have any.
They have state police and town police there. No one called them? They're on after midnight.
No, apparently, she didn't call it, but I don't know that it's, whatever. I mean, I don't know that they come out and they measure the height of the sound, but at any rate, I mean, I saw that Gary Spears was on it, so I'm assuming that because it's in his town, he'll take whatever necessary actions have to be taken. Committee reports, board members. What do you got, Tom?
Actually, I have nothing for tonight.
Janet?
The ZBA will be meeting tomorrow at 7. Planning board will be meeting Wednesday the 21st at 7. So far we have 106 library cards to date. I have a copy of the Ketchum fencing for everybody. Thank you. And I also talked to Paul about about possibly, the next time there's a, like, a pill drop or collection, medicine collection over at Devon, to talk to the seniors over there a little bit about, the senior scams and whatnot in the area.
Right?
I just wanted to thank the VFW. I know we got letters to go to their event last Monday. I made a promise that I would thank this person, Louise Adamson. I thank her for her pictures, which I posted on the Facebook page for the town.
Lois.
Lois, thank you. Ooh, God, I would have been, thank you, audience member. Otisville Little League. Dean, I kind of confused my story a little bit. They're looking for clay, which I know we gotta talk about, but I just wanna throw that out there. I thought they were asking for it down the road, but they're looking for it now, because I guess their fields are in kind of bad shape. Minnesota Youth Football, their final registration is Wednesday, the 7th, at 7 p.m. over at the Greenville Senior Center. Devon's Gate. I guess I went over on the 26th, which was Friday, not last week, the week before. I guess there was a smell of septic. So I kind of went to the office. Patty wasn't in the office, but I spoke to some people. I don't know if it was one of those days where the air really wasn't moving, but I haven't heard any other complaints about that. And when I went back, I didn't even smell it, so I have to assume that that's, and the two lights, they have red lights like under two septic systems. Neither one of them were on, so. Summer rec, we are all done hiring counselors.
We are.
We're still recruiting, hopefully a couple people to sign up, still looking for some people there. I think I delivered 1,500 copies of registration forms to the schools over on the Greenville or Slate Hill side. The audits, Matt and I are gonna do, which I think he reached out to Kathleen today, on the 9th, Friday. And, what else do we got? I got a couple other things. The 4-H is doing an Animal Fun Day that I saw. I ran into, one of the people there this Saturday at, from 10 to 3. So I printed some of these off to throw on the table if anyone's interested in coming. I hand them to you to throw down there. And I'll throw this out even though it's not on my list. Holy Name Church is doing a tricky tray this weekend, the 10th also. Doors open at 5:30, calling's at 7. I promised them I'd do this. And it's at the Otisville Firehouse. So please come and support. And that's all I got. That's all I got.
Thank you. Matt?
On the master plan, our next meeting is July 20th. It's a Thursday at 5 p.m. at the town hall. We are at the stage, the comprehensive plan end is, the draft is being prepared by the company Martin Lagudas for us to give the final approval as the committee and then bring that back to the town board. We're also just started at our last meeting on the zoning end of the comprehensive plan, so that's the second half to be taken on now. And with our veteran ceremonies we had last year, we're going to expand on that this year, and we have planned a parade. So what I have for the board, I passed out before we started, is 2 letters to request use of 2 facilities. We have projected, pending the approval of these 2 uses, starting at the Village Fire Station, going down Highland Avenue, turning on Main Street to conclude at the Veterans Park, where they had their Memorial Day ceremony. So we're gonna request that the village allow the use of the park and the fire station on November the 11th for the purposes of the parade, and also request from the fire company to use the fire station on November 11th to assemble and start the parade. So I've got 2 letters here for everyone. If you wanna put them in business whenever, and that will get things kicked off for Veterans Day 2017.
So, does anyone have any questions on these letters? If not, we'll just move forward. We'll get them over to the village. And
The only thing I don't have with me tonight is I have a copy of the proposed parade route to send with them. This says they'll be attached, I have to make some
Okay.
copies of that, and then we'll mail them, I'll get them down tomorrow.
So subject to you having that, does anyone have any objections to getting these over there? I don't wanna wait another 2 weeks, let's get it over there.
No
I
objection.
don't think we need a motion for that. Perfect,
And that's all I have on the reports.
okay. I had a couple of things. One, Brian, thank you for taking care of our stage for Community Day, events. I know you've been working on that, hopefully we'll have a full roster for that day. And Dean, thank you for the flag drop, I see it's out there. We did pull the record box out of the ground, which was pretty easy. Well, Brian pulled it out of the ground. We were thinking, is there any way we could put it where the newspaper stand used to be, so that it's right by the front door? And Lucy, the lady that delivers the mail, has already christened it, and somebody else dropped a flag in there, so it's good, it's awesome, it looks very nice.
I can't believe how little people have flag drops, and I know the village was sent out for a little while to get spruced up, and I had a flag, well, actually 2 flags sitting there for a while, so it was good. It's in there, I deposited it.
Do we need to put a lock on it or label it or
Well,
anything?
who picks it up from us?
Well, we would make arrangements with the
The
VFW.
VFW,
I think we should label it.
The
flag
American
drop.
Legion, I
Something
believe.
like mail.
Hold on a second, I wanna say something. They ordered, I already asked this, because I spoke to this about Chad and I asked the question the other day. They ordered a bunch of decals for it. They're in the process of, they're gonna finish doing something. Because I said the same thing, it should say flag drop, it should say something.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're gonna have mail in there. And, they're supposedly, I'll get on, you know what, I'll ask the question of exactly when they're gonna have the decals.
Okay.
Note to self.
But I don't know, Dean, if we put a lock on it, or we should have them put a lock on
they,
it. They probably should put their own on it, right? So you'll take care of that?
Absolutely.
All right. And you obviously saw those 2 little minor violation things. You'll take care of that?
yeah, we'll have Roger look at it tomorrow.
Perfect. And Dean, I know you secured us quite a few light towers for Community Day, thank you. Just want to make sure I thank everyone. And while I'm actually talking about that, Paul, you've sent out letters, Dean, you sent out letters for sponsors, we've sent out some. It's really been a collective effort, and it's paying off. We've got quite a few sponsors back for Community Day, and we have to design like T-shirts and all of that stuff. But,
And we have a band for all day.
we have a band for all day. It's shaping up.
Absolutely.
Definitely
Who's the
shaping up.
band?
It's out of Bloomberg. Bruce? I'll get you the name of both bands, he's in 2 bands. He's gonna play, I think, from 12 until about 9:30, and then we're gonna have, which I'm working on, a magician kind of in between to give them a little bit of a break.
Hopefully. Lots of magic.
Reached out to a lot of local people, unfortunately, not that I wanna make anyone go to it, but unfortunately, the county is having their county festival the same day.
All right. Anyone here from Lewiston Fire for a report?
They have their company meeting tonight.
No problem. Police. I'm sorry, Dean, I skipped right over you.
No, go ahead.
No, no.
Go first, we're gonna go executive session.
The construction meeting is scheduled for Wednesday afternoon for the roof. Most of the materials, or all the materials have been received. I guess they did a scan of the roof one evening last week,
Last Thursday.
and supposedly nothing is wet enough to be a concern, so.
What time is the meeting?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock?
He keeps changing it, but right now it's 3 o'clock on Wednesday.
The Crown Vic that was surplus, the auction closed last Friday night. $1,725 was the high bid. So we'll need to accept that or whatever you choose. One last thing I have is this grant for the roadside mower. Amy's been working on more paperwork for it. She gave this form, I guess David and Chad need to sign it, so we can send back the last few items we need.
Sure.
think that's all I have.
Perfect, so why don't we do this now? A motion to accept $1,725 being the high bid for the Crown Victoria.
I'll make the motion to accept that bid.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who is the bidder?
Alls I have is T. Murphy.
Team Murphy?
It's through Auctions International. They'll receive payment and then send us the check.
Okay.
Police Paul?
Just a couple quick things. The last meeting, I forgot to bring it up. We were looking for approval of the discriminatory harassment policy. I sent it out a few weeks earlier and we've got nothing back from anybody, so if no one has any objections, I'm going to vote on that tonight. If anyone has any questions or objections, we can do it, but I forgot to get the vote the last meeting. And looking for an executive session to discuss a personnel issue, and that is all I have. Just actually on the community day, the thing from the county is all taken care of. The contract's done. There was a little bit of issue with some workers' comp paperwork, but I think we've got that all ironed out. So, and I spoke to Tony about it, and he said there's really nothing for the training, so we're all set.
And the village is running, I met with them, I met with the chief, Car 3, and they are going to handle the smokehouse the whole entire day. They thought they may need 2 to 3 people there, and if they need some assistance, they're going to reach out to Hal's to help them. I explained to them that they had to go to this training in order for us to do it, even if they thought they knew how to do it. So long and short of it, productive meeting, pretty excited about it. We're hoping that we're gonna put it up by, the Fire Cats are bringing antique fire trucks. We're thinking we're gonna put it up there so that when kids look at the fire trucks and everything, they can go through the smokehouse. And I really like, I think there'll be a lot more excitement, and I think there's gonna be a lot of excitement for kids to be able to go through and learn what to do in case of a fire. And I think it's gonna be good interaction with the firefighters too, so should be for a good day.
Chad, the other thing is, and Casey Engineering, I asked him about it tonight, we still haven't got anything back on the roof for the snow load. He's gonna follow up. We've called, I spoke to Dominic, and for whatever reason, they haven't gotten back to us on that.
Yeah, they're supposed to put these things on the roof so it breaks the ice before it comes down, so we don't lose the windshield.
But depending on the construction, the roof determines where they get placed in terms of the, on the slope, so.
Have you talked to Danny?
I spoke to him tonight to check, because they haven't returned our call. We called a couple times and left messages, so. We got the original plans back, so they, probably a month ago now, so they have made their own copies.
Isn't the snow load in the trusses?
It's,
It should be certified with the trusses.
right.
Yeah,
The
but,
snow load is, and it would be the truss manufacturer who decides where you're supposed to put those.
right, and it's all in the documents, but after talking to Chad, Dominic, and Julie, we thought that KC should
They should.
dictate where they were gonna actually be placed. That's it, I'm good.
Village of Boastville, Diane?
Don't have a whole lot. Our flag drop box is back in place, so now we've got 2 locations, which is good. It fills up so quickly, it's amazing, and it's all summer long, so it's good that there is a secondary drop. We're starting to plan for the yard sale, so I wanted to ask Paul, do you know yet who will be our primary contact person? So when we start doing
I'm
meetings.
not sure who's it's gonna be, but the permit's done.
Okay, that was my
Yes.
second question.
Correct. Yeah, there was also some, I guess the same workers' comp paperwork was the issue, but I think that's all resolved. We physically don't have the permit yet,
Okay,
but the gentleman from the county said we had everything
good.
in, and it looked like everything was set, and it should be forthcoming soon.
When you
So,
get that, if you can
I
make a
will.
copy for
Sure,
us for
yeah,
our file.
yeah.
And then we are starting to have meetings, but we don't usually have the police there until the last couple, so
Yeah, just let me know.
you let me know who, and
Okay.
I'll send it to you and then you
Yep.
can pass it on.
Perfect.
Unless the board has questions, that's all I have.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Concerts are starting soon. That's all I have.
Okay,
left them out, by the way, that's a good point. I made photocopies in color, for the concert series down there, so take one and you'll know who's playing. June 27th, that's gonna be here before
It's
we know
gonna
it.
be here
Yeah.
super fast,
3 weeks.
super fast. Full executive session before, public participation, right?
Yeah, I'm good now.
Okay, good, then we'll knock through this stuff.
Can I add one
Everyone,
thing before you go?
huh? What?
The Orange County Highway Association's having their second golf outing. Last year we gave $5,000 to the Cornell 4-H. This year we're gonna donate all the profits to the Hudson Valley Honor Flight.
Oh,
There's a
nice.
couple applications for golfers up there if anybody's interested.
What's the date
July 11th. My daughter's due date.
All right, everyone should have, copies, from New York State. So, in April of 2014, we were given a, $100,000 grant from Senator Bonasac. Probably every 3 months, I get a huge packet of paperwork that says final step. And, this letter came and we actually are at the final step. The paperwork that I sent back in fully funds the $100,000. Casey Engineering, I have packages for the, roof and also the columns. So the roof, because we obviously want to stop the bleeding, it's leaking in several spots. Number one priority, and the columns inside, a few of the columns are rotted, although the architect design they thought was really nice, so we want to kind of keep that. So what I would like now is I would like a motion to go to bid on both things. I'll do separate motions. I don't know how far the $100,000 is going to get us, and that's all I'm looking for permission right now, is the grant money that we have. But I don't want to bid one out and then come back 2 months from now and we have enough money to do both. So I'd like to bid both out, and then once the bid comes in, we'll obviously know how much we're able to get done.
Awesome.
So at this time, I'd like a motion to go to bid for the roof for the pool building.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to go to bid for the pool building columns.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Kathleen, I'll get you the sheet is really outdated because it says 2014, but the specs is still the same, so I'll get you all that so we can put that in there. Highway budget modification, would you read that, Kathleen?
Increase revenue account B 2560 in the amount of $2,199, and increase refuse garbage account B 8160.4 in the amount of $2,199. This was payment from Sunny Zito for scrap metal collected during spring cleanup.
Thank you, Kathleen. Motion to approve the budget modification as read.
I'll make the motion, we approve the budget modification.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Lions Club request to use the highway garage. So I got an email, I think it was a day or two after our last meeting. This time we had 3 weeks in between. From Sue Marshall, every year the Lions Club uses the facility next door at the highway garage to set up the floats for the parade. I personally didn't have a problem with it, but obviously I'm not in the garage every day. It was Dean, so I forwarded it to Dean. I spoke with Dean. Dean doesn't have a problem with it either, as long as they're gonna come and do the stuff while the garage is open, right?
What is the date? Do we have the date?
I'm sorry, I didn't print it out, but it's gonna be basically the week before,
Week of the fair.
to make sure that all the, so the only, we should have a insurance certificate already on file, which I can have Kathleen double, triple check. Would be a no hold harmless agreement, because it is using our facility, which should be a really simple thing to do too, because I really don't want any liability, although I have no problem with using the facility.
I understand that it's inside and it's out in the sun, but the last couple of years, it's been like 90+ degrees in there. I mean, it was pretty hot in there. was there, and I realized all the doors were open, so it's not something you could do differently. But I realize it's the time of the year, it's August, but. Yeah.
Give me a
You
fan.
could put a garage door in there.
Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments?
No objection.
So I would like to make a motion to approve the Lions Club request to use the highway garage, providing we get a hold harmless agreement and we have a copy of the insurance on file.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Everyone should also have a copy of the firework notice. There you go. All right. David, do you have this?
I didn't see
All
it
right,
yet.
good. The board saw it, so thanks. This is basically just for the board to review. This isn't sent out yet. Because we've never had to send anything out, I wanted to ask the board if you were happy, you thought there should be any changes on this. I tried to put as much information as I could on it. I'm assuming that we would send this out approximately 20 days prior to, and I think we have to do Finchville, Mount Hope Avenue, basically surrounding areas. So I have no problem doing that. I just didn't want to send it and you guys say, hey, we should have had something else on it.
Both sides of the road all the way around the block, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll, Kathleen will put a notice in the newspaper and we'll also, post it in, but I
Just get them in,
huh?
What? Put them wherever you'd like.
Door to door, if they don't answer the front, go around back.
Does anyone have any questions? David, is it okay?
I don't see any problem with it.
Again, I don't particularly think I need a motion, I just wanna make sure everybody's good with it, and I'll produce the copies and send it out. A motion to approve the sexual harassment policy.
Make the motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion to, all right, so let me tell you what it is first. So we're starting to get all this money in for Community Day, and I don't have a revenue line for that. So I try to find the closest thing that would be the right line. So I would like a motion to create a budget line for other cultural and recreational income, Community Day.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Dean, we got the card done. Motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion that we pay our bills.
Second,
Motion?
all in favor?
Aye.
Did I get everyone's, everything other than the executive session? Good, right? Look at this, move right along. Motion to go executive session for personnel issue.
Make the motion.
Second,
Second motion?
all in favor? You want to vote?
Gotta get a golf. I'll get you one. I haven't done
I wish I was going to see what's
Jerry wants, Jerry wants. My husband's a golfer, so it says golfer. Look what I did for you. You're going to play.
Yeah, it's so fresh right now.
Hole in one, you gotta hit a hole in one. You get an ATV out of that.
I was about 15 feet away from it.
For a hole in one? Get out. My husband, I'm gonna take a picture of this now, but it's not here right now. Where's that
Yeah, we'll look at what is this.
He does really good with that. He came home last time with the TV. They shut the nice off there, you got two drivers, like, she meant like 2 drivers, it's not telling me. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
They already made the swap and I just took off.
She's smart enough, he knows to get out. He knows to get out, because he knows I'm
Last year was the first time I ever played.
He plays every Tuesday night.
Yes, I know.
I think he plays a lot. That's his, he wants to build a putting green. We have switch grass, like it's a big, he's a golf, like he's obsessed.
Hit it and send the ball back.
Oh, we got one. So he wants like, he's calling a company, it's like a big Shannon or my forget that. Yeah, wait till I tell him no.
Yeah, see, I'm more of an old video.
You're all hippie when it comes to everything.
I was walking out.
Let's say you're a kid, you still want to run.
And when she played.
My husband has four cars hanging on the
Lake George, no, this.
You're working with Chuck. I was walking with Garcia.
Been big.
That guy played with
As they stop over.
got rid of my glove and
We went, I was still,
I got a sweet
I was
spot
still
on mine like
dating.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Shenanigans. Where is he? Oh, including here. Okay, okay, so they have the drink.
15+ years ago.
We did a golf anyway. Right. Where he goes, can you say that?
No, we'll get them.
Yeah.
They're like, keep them coming. They ride around the golf course in the car. That's
Thursday. Forty in the lower valley. Looks like a
What time do you need? Without the wind chill, they were 30.
Oh, it's someone's coming late anyway.
I got some here.
We've never had anybody try to. I don't check out.
I just don't want to do oh, you always want to do
But again, that's barring somebody else deciding to do it wrong. I will be there.
You don't know what the dates are.
I have them,
Because you're already doing one for the Philippines, right?
Well, can you make a left in this room?
You'll be able to do
I was in there by myself. The other day. My husband was in I took my husband there.
Handshake you need to know.
So you're not going to be there either, strength or Oh, so. I won't go into detail. Okay.
Yeah, he'll do it. He didn't know before, now we
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
And in the meantime, I'll research how that
Even
works
ask
as far as reach out to
Well, what is it? That's what I said. He said,
I know, making a lot of progress.
I'm not even.
Now it's just like the, we changed it, now it's like trying to figure out something.
So much.
Their option was to run.
Well, he told me, the girl told me.
I'm not even Can you bring that to the tricky I heard I'll give Jerry the number.
So they didn't have enough, right? Oh, it's what you're saying, you have different numbers. I got no different numbers. Alright?
I got the microphone going on stage and everything. Yeah, like the speakers are still there.
They purchased it.
Oh, that's, he's not my friend. That's a super peasant.
That may be close to it.
Yes, he oversees the whole thing. Oh, I didn't get, I saw him tonight. I went to the game, I had my glove, I didn't glove, and I walk up to him. Oh, yeah, she was texting me as soon as she spoke, but I told her.
You have those gold, those glass, we're funny. Yeah, that's why you have the
Eventually I wound up going to see nothing. And my jacket was nothing.
It should be like a dictation. Isn't your daughter graduating?
Yeah.
Why? Electric school does the answer. Oh, maybe it's. Oh, okay. How cool is that?
Last one, kid.
But you guys may be, I may be organization, but I was young.
It's the last one, Daddy, I've been on it for 4 years.
I gotta make a decision. I want to 50.
You should.
We always use more. By little. My children track my child.
No.
Try to get off on insurance.
still had sweet motors and activated.
Windows are down, doors are
I've been
Bring them in at the
That's what you did.
You can buy one of those collars or jackets right on eBay. Everybody.
My wife buys one, puts it on me, and carries
Hey. Buddy.
Yeah, that's my
So was Toby up the other meeting too? You definitely could have brought him in there. That's why I slides on him.
And his dog. Like, it looks like a wet dog, even when it's dry. That dog has a spot, in town, he takes the dog everywhere, they stop by. Like, that's not very good. And everyone in town's like, Cody, Cody. The place has like biscuits when he walks by, the bar has dog biscuits.
What is it?
What's my name?
No, I know, I see, I have dog
It's too small to find the park. Where you stand?
If the windows are opened on the car, he'll get in and wait. He still thinks it's a car. He says, yeah, we can't come, have cats.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, Owen.
We had fish for a while, that was her pet. We had Dorothy and
Yeah, he had fish.
And then I used to have a soap.
Allergic to fish.
Yeah.
I used to have a soap cat. I loved it. I couldn't keep up with my work. And then we went on a cruise to get back. Really mad about the soap thing. Because like, my daughter's like, I bought her $2. I was like, there's no way she's getting money. Three people want to fill that. What am I going to do with fish? So they give me this little plastic container. I was like, all right, I'm going to put this in there. Because I don't know anything about fresh water. I was like, okay. The next morning, so I go to the pet store, I get a sweet now I have a goldfish, but I gotta find some fish that live in Paddle that aren't other goldfish because they do too much ammonia. So now I have scandals on my top of my chemical. I have the whole mess. Go on vacation, like bio-wheels, companies. So like, just to make sure the tank circulates to the throat. I buy some cheese. The goldfish is blocked. Facebook. My picture is much more fun. It's live. I put it on Facebook. Free. Take it with me. Someone within an hour was at his house. I gave away 40 gallons. I had.
Oh, yeah. What do you got? What do you got?
And now the goldfish, you need 20 gallons minimum because you have 230. So now I have 20 gallons. Now they're 20 gallons. Now I gotta buy different pictures. I tried to do this again. So just keep putting tap water in. I'm like, I don't know. It won't dry. I tried to I started going to tax, stupid thing. My husband's like, look at Dory right down there. Look at me at the money page.
Old Bill Pond.
I wanted to throw it, but then they said, don't do that because they. I wanted to take it and chuck it in the yard. And then he ate like a gold.
You still have fish in your pond outside?
We didn't quite figure that out.
Right.
I would have known. I would have given you the gold. Take it. And you can go to the fair.
Don't tell her where you live. She can go to the fish.
By the way, the fair this year, once I see that booth, I'm going, let's go this way. I want that booth in the corner somewhere. I don't want to see the so-called booth. That booth will be at least what
Don't blame her on that. Look out.
Survived
the water's boiling.
I survived.
Can't live without a little bit of this man. I had a 90 gallon. And I really but you know, 3 kids, so everything's fine. I took care of this thing every day. I had to cycle guy. Whole thing making I had it beautiful. I had one fish. So one day I go to my fish wait for the guy. Minus one fish. I had a silly fish. I want this fish because I need this midline high swimmer. Yeah, no, but it was mid. Oh, is that the fish? Yeah, exactly. Everything's going on great. One day that fish got mad. It was like okay. 30 seconds. It just all of a sudden it didn't like blow up. The sides came out. Ended up they were supposed to sell me a lion fish. And I went back to the guy. He sold me a different breed. Yeah, he sold me a different breed. It wasn't like a lion fish. It looks almost like it. He must be from the supplier. I freaking brought up a big fish. I was like, this fish killed my fish. And I brought it to my normal fish guy, he's like, well, why did you do that? That's a lot.
You can't go back to that.
I had to call it, I spent, I had to take like, man hours, making mistakes. And now my daughter's cardiologist says to me, and I'm like, oh, it's not much easier to solve something. And I'm like, oh my God. He goes, yeah, I told you. I was like, he's here once a week. And then the little things, he has little things like kids height for the kids. He has to find out, it's really cool. It's cool office. And you're like, his height, he goes, that's cool. It wasn't broken. Like little things.
Motion to come out of executive session?
Motion to come out?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. I'd like to make a motion to make Anna Versino our very new sergeant at the Mount Hope Police Department.
Next a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
I abstain.
Ayes have it. Congratulations, Anna. Come on in here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And motion to authorize the supervisors to sign the contract with the Mount Hope PBA for the sergeant's position.
Make the motion, we authorize you to sign the contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
I abstain.
All right, ayes have it. Public participation.
I'm just assuming.
Just come on up, come right up to the podium.
My name is Nancy Kamanzi. I'm doing a fundraiser for Gary and Joanne Ketchum's granddaughter at the community center, June 25th. I'm here to ask the board if they'd be willing to waive the rental fee, because it's cuts into what we could give their granddaughter. Many of you know Gary and Joanne. You know that Haley has gone through one round of chemo. She's 10 months old. She has leukemia. She's going through the second round now, a little bit lesser dosage, but as you can imagine, medical costs can go crazy depending on what kind of insurance you have. And it's possible, I'd like that, if you could waive that fee, sure, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Do you have any information on the fundraiser that you can give us? What kind of fundraiser is it?
Actually, I have the tickets in my pocketbook.
Perfect.
It's an essential oil make and take fundraiser. I don't know if anybody's familiar with essential oils. But it's $25 a ticket. It covers the supplies, but the rest of it goes to Haley. And it's the supply cost is fairly minimal. She should, out of the $25 ticket, she'll probably get about 15, possibly more if we, have enough product that we can just, but, I'm not taking a profit from that. I'm not doing, one of those things where you get a little bonus for having a party. It's all going for Haley.
That's absolutely awesome. Do you have information that we can put on our Facebook page or something, maybe to promote it? I mean, are you
I actually
welcoming
have-
more people to the
I
event?
have a post on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can get your Facebook page. Maybe I could post it to you or to somebody else too.
I'll get with you.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. I don't really think anyone's gonna have a problem waiving the fee for that.
What is the date of the fundraiser?
June 25th.
What time?
It's at 2:00.
Sure.
Make the motion to waive the rental fees for the fundraiser on June the 25th.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That, you'll still have to come down and fill out the paperwork, and you're still gonna have to leave a security deposit, but you'll get that back.
That's fine. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You got it.
Appreciate
And then you'll get with Brian and give him the information. We get a lot of views on our page, so maybe we can sell it out for you sometime.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else? Diane?
A few odds and end things, just to follow up to Nancy's fundraiser. If people cannot go, because I've had a lot of the seniors telling me that they couldn't make it, but they would like to donate, that is a possibility. She just doesn't know yet how the check should be made out. If it would be made out directly to Katie and her family, or if it's gonna be filtered through Gary, but just know that's also an option. Ken Pinkella could not be here tonight. He had another meeting, but he asked me to be sure to pass along to David and to Chad how grateful he is that whatever you did and said to Time Warner / Spectrum seems to be working, because they're running cable right now on Mountain Road. And he is staying on top of that. You can be sure he will be monitoring it. David, you got the information that I sent on
Yeah, I
Culver Road?
actually spoke to the contact at Spectrum this morning. They dropped the ball as far as the franchise agreement, which we sent to them 2 months ago. So they're following up with that. I'm hoping to hear this week. They're working with their construction department regarding the Mountain Road sites, as well as I emailed them today the new addresses, so I knew those were coming. So I'm hoping there'll be more developments in the next couple of weeks.
Thank you. Second thing, Hometown Helpers has their annual volunteer recognition luncheon next Wednesday. All 3 of the girls in the office have been invited because they are an essential part to making this program work. And I would just ask the boards, that the board authorize them to the luncheon, since it is during work hours. Tuesday, June the 13th, is the emergency preparedness presentation over at the senior center, scheduled to begin about 1 o'clock. We'll actually have a very brief business meeting for the seniors before it, so it'll be about 1:15 before it really starts. It is on your website, and I appreciate that, but be sure to it is open to anyone. You don't have to be seniors. If you look at it on the website, it does ask that you contact me, and the contact information is there if you intend to attend, and that's only so that I can let them know how much material to bring with them. So hopefully we'll have a really nice turnout for that. Paul, you had indicated that you or Jim or somebody would be able to be there, and that the more the better. So we have the fire chief, at least one of them, coming as well. So if anybody is around, please try to join us.
I'm coming.
Good. And last but not least, the seniors have a 3-day trip coming up, June 19th through 21st. And it dawned on me this evening as I was getting ready for the meeting that Monday the 19th is a board meeting. So while you were in executive session, I did talk to Dean and about the parking situation. That was my concern. I anticipate no more than 20 cars. and Dean said he felt that that was doable. I'll just try to keep them from parking right directly in front of the building. But the people who come to the next board meeting, if it seems to be really crowded, that's because we're all off at the Finger Lakes. That's all I have. If anything changes, Dean and you and Chad wanna do something different, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Jerry?
I just wanted to say thanks for getting the hydrolysis guys in. Appreciate it very much.
Thanks for your questions, because you had quite a few, but they were questions that I never thought to ask.
Well, I appreciate it, so.
So Dr. Roeder, how you doing? Can you enlighten us a little on a dog park?
Okay.
Please, I hate to put you on the spot. I didn't know you were coming tonight.
Okay, I heard rumor that there, might be some, it might be addressed.
Yeah, well, I've heard really good things, I've heard really bad things, and you're the area expert.
Personally, I really like the idea of a dog park. I like it for the animals, I like it for the owners. I think that a dog park is a privilege, and people who use it need to be held accountable for their use thereof. I think that a dog park should be enclosed, so that the dogs are allowed to be off leash. But there has to be an understanding that those that aren't playing nicely with others, should be, the owner should understand that if they are asked to leave, when there's an obvious altercation that's gonna take place, that the owners would respectfully take their animal out. There has to be rules when it comes to having a dog park. I think that, having a dog park, in the area, would be very beneficial, because, I used to walk my dog around the perimeter, of the dog park, the park across the street until the signs went up. So now I don't have a place that, I myself would enjoy taking it to. And I understand and I respect the laws as they are, but it'd be nice that if you take away what was at that park, you had something else available. I think that would be fair to us, who do have pets. From a health standpoint, people who take their animals to a dog park need to understand that the way that biology works, there are things that are going to be contagious. So if somebody brings their animal and puts it inside a contained area, that they need to understand that it is their responsibility to have their animal protected as best as they can. If somebody has a sick animal, they should have the common sense not to bring their animal to the dog park. There will be altercations, there will be dog fights, just like you can put two people in a room and they just are abrasive, the same thing can happen with animals. Owners should be cognizant that you just don't let your animal go and walk away. You need to watch your animal, you need to look for signals where, one animal starts to stare down another. That means you need to intervene, you need to take those animals out. There's just, I think the dog park's a great idea, but the people who are gonna be using the dog park need to not hold the town responsible for anything that happens there. People who use the dog park with their pets have to show a lot of personal responsibility.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of the issues that we're having, because I don't know that any way it could be on town property and we would have zero liability.
And I don't understand that. I'm just saying, if there's a box here and you walk into that box, you need to accept the fact that you have personally taken on responsibility for anything that happens in that box.
She might be replacing you, David. But I'm with you, but obviously if anyone's going to have a lawsuit, they're gonna have a lawsuit, But I just our issues are policing it. You know, if you see 3 or 4 days worth of rain and you see when Dean doesn't have summer help, you know, the park grows so fast that we can't even literally keep up on it with the manpower that we have. And I think, personally, I don't know, I live in Hidden Valley, probably 90% of the people have dogs, and 75% of them walk around with a bag in their hand. They're doing the right thing. The other 25%, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the people that, you know, as disgusting as it is, dogs eat other dogs. It's nasty. It's nasty, and our guys are on a skeleton crew. I can't have somebody say, well, it's a mess up there. You've got to send somebody up there, and it's not my job, it's not this person's job. I mean, I agree with you. I think it would be great that everyone takes their dog out if it gets aggressive, and everyone picks up their dog's mess, but I don't, you know, everything that you mentioned seems like it's a sign that would be bigger than the fence. You know, like you should take responsibility. I agree with you, but how do you make the person do that? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out.
I don't have an answer for how to make a person do that, but I do think having a sign, even if it is the length of the fence, that's, you know, that makes a statement. That, you know, if you choose to enter this confined space, you know, you are assuming these responsibilities.
Okay.
My opinion.
Thank you. David, if it's on our property, will we accept him liability?
It's gonna be an argument that the insurance company has to make, but if I were a plaintiff in that situation, I'd name everybody, and that's usually what happens. You know, we can post a sign, we can do releases. I wish I could say there is a method that's foolproof, 100% foolproof, but in my experience there isn't, but there's options we can explore, certainly.
Doctor, I have 17 articles from different veterinary associations, ASPCA, kennel groups, all going over the pros and cons of dog parks. Obviously, everybody has listed both sides of the story. There are a lot of pros to the dog park, and there are a lot of cons to the dog park. What is your opinion on disease transmission? Because that seems to be a big thing with vets on how much disease transmission goes from dog to dog.
I guess I put myself in the position and I ask, you send children to school, kids get sick at school, you need to understand that can happen. There are things that we vaccinate for, and there are things that we don't have control over. And again, if an owner decides to take their animal to the dog park because they're looking for socialization or they're looking for exercise, you know, the owner has to take on some of that responsibility as well. If somebody, you know, contracts something that was contagious and it was something that you have the potential to vaccinate against, really, whose fault is that?
I just want to say to Dr. Roeder, I reached out to her and I actually had a conversation with her about this, and I wish that we could clone you at a fast pace, because I wish people had the same attitude as you. But listen, you enlightened me, and I get it, because my only issue was policing it. I realize we have a dog catcher, and you know, it's the small percentage of people, or the percentage of people that I personally was worried about, that, you know, you go there to do the right thing. I know Mike C., I'll hold him into this, I know Mike C. had said in meetings before that he walks his dog down at the Otisville Park, because you can walk your dog down there. I made you part of the meeting, Mike, you're welcome. And I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, in general, it's the percentage of people that I'm a little concerned about that wouldn't abide by the rules.
The articles from the lawyers that have represented towns that have been sued in dog parks, the only way to protect the town is to obviously make all the rules, to have somebody there in charge of the dog park while the dog park is open. And if anybody files a complaint against a dog, if you don't act on it, then you are totally liable. So there have been million-dollar lawsuits against towns and municipalities in dog parks. So it's not, you're not always, you know, signs don't always protect you. I mean, the signs are good, but the signs don't protect you.
So there is a difference. I mean, there's a difference between like walking his dog on a leash versus having it in a cage also.
I just wanted to fold him into the meeting because you can't see the video of the aisle too, so it's, but I understand.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just saying, there's a big difference. There's a difference if you had an area that you could walk your dog, that is a walking path versus, you know, two dogs that might not be getting along that are loose inside of an area too, so.
And I was paying attention to you, Dr. Roder, but your statement to me was, it's better for a dog to run to burn calories. See, I was listening, or you're not gonna get that walking in on a leash. And I got it from both points, but I'm just saying, I thank you for the education.
Listen.
I just want to bring up that when we were looking into the dog park initially, we did speak to our insurance carrier, and he did say that we are covered in the park for those people who do bring their dogs from time to time. So like Dr. Roeder said, she was walking the dog in the park until the signs went up that she couldn't walk the dog in the park. So I don't really know if you decide not to do the dog park, if you would consider letting people walk their dogs on leash in the park. That would be another alternative. You know, I don't really know. I can see that there's some contention up there as to the liability and, you know, you're not 100% covered. But, I mean, I did have a conversation with him, the insurance carrier, and he did say that we are covered for dogs that are being walked in our park. And I don't know if that might be an alternative.
With the main park is, the issue is, most people bring a bag, they take care of what they have to take care of, but there's those that don't, and then we've got kids running all over the park, so.
Well, I understand that part of it, but I'm thinking that it's less of a hazard because it's more visible when they're in the park, and there's a lot more people out there, so I think they're more, you know, apt to pick up a mess if people are watching them than if they're at the dog park, no one else is up there, well, you know.
Just for the record, the signs at the dog park, to my understanding, when I was the liaison to the dog catcher, he had come and complained that he can't enforce the rules because they're not signed, even though the rules were always in place before that.
Right.
So we got with Dean and we made new signs, which is what you're talking about, Dr. Roeder, when the new signs went up, because people honestly thought they could walk their dogs there, even though there was, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, 2 or 3 signs that were up originally that you can't walk your dogs there. And I think that's, he couldn't enforce it because there wasn't signage, was his complaint, and that's why we kind of followed through and put signage up.
Right, but that's something that a previous board put into place, that
Right.
they couldn't walk their dogs in the park. I understand that. You're a new board. Maybe you find that it is acceptable for people to walk their dogs in the park as long as they're attended and, you know, pick up their business. That's just, I'm just putting out an alternative.
Can you state your name for the record?
Julie Usual?
Thank you.
On the other hand, Mike C., I walk basically December, January, February, March. In the winter, have to walk. I got a back condition, I got a walker, I can't move. So, actually my dog drags me, but it's a Westie. Dr. Roeder knows about my dog, Hyper. Anyway, I pick up more garbage in that park before the signs are up than anybody. I go beyond. I take a big bag with me every time I walk. In fact, I came in and told Amy, all the garbage cans are full on the lower side. You gotta get someone over there to dump them because I filled them all up. So I was cleaning the entire park all winter, the year I did it. Now I'm in the village park, I walk in the winter. So when I walk around, I clean that park when I'm walking. So there is pros too. There is people that go beyond and do clean up regular garbage. That people, you know, people don't clean up, you know, the dog's feces or whatever. But then there's people that throw bottles, the same difference. And they throw cigarette butts, and they don't clean them. So it's the same difference. You're gonna have garbage, you're gonna have, you know, all different stuff there. It's just, you're not gonna control that. It's a matter of an individual, but like I said, on the other hand, I clean the park as well, beyond the dog.
One of the things when I had reached out to several dog parks in the area is that they said, while yes, there can be issues with dog poop, that usually if there are other people, and of course if there's one person there by themselves, maybe they wouldn't clean it up, but that everybody is usually very good about policing what everybody else is doing. So if they see somebody's dog poop and they don't pick it up, they're like, dog pooped, pick it up. You know, and the towns, that was something that they had shared. And I also wanted to thank Doc Roeder also for being here. I know the other night when we spoke, you had said, very busy, we know how busy you are, you're like the #1 vet around here, but, so thank you for coming.
Anybody else? Paul?
On the dog park, you got cameras, takes away everything. Put cameras up, you got a dog that's fighting, you'll find out what dog is fighting ahead of time. You got a person that doesn't pick up their crap, pull it up on a camera, you'll see who it is, here's a fine, goodbye, have a great day.
How do you prove who it is when they're out of town?
How many out-of-towners actually come to the dog park that they don't know about?
I don't know. I know a lot of people from here go to Middletown, because they have a dog.
But, on a different note, the attorney firm, Town of Mount Hope, sent a letter to you guys. Did you receive it stating, the dissolution needs to be signed from you guys and sent?
Oh, it was, yeah, we sent the certified minutes to him before I left for vacation. He should have it by now.
When timeframe, because I just got a letter.
3 weeks ago, we sent it out.
Yeah, we did sign it. I didn't sign it.
Because I just got the letter 3 days ago, so can you just double check
Yeah,
and
no
see
problem.
where that goes? Okay,
You got it.
appreciate it, thank you. Did we make a decision on how to do the fire alarm system over at the senior center yet? Why Julie's still here?
No, because we're also gonna include the other buildings, which would be town hall, and we have to get you guys back to give us a quote.
Yeah.
Cause we wanna consolidate.
I understand that concept, and that's a great concept to have.
Mhm.
But right now, the other buildings have fire protection, the senior center doesn't. So you might wait 2-3 months to get all the quotes, and if something happens over there, you lost the building. And that might go into the PD, because it's one big building, and the courthouse. So, it's a great concept, but you need to take care of what doesn't have protection before you start going. Because all the contracts, they don't end up the same time every year, right?
No.
So you have time, you already paid a contract for a year, and you're not gonna break that contract, because you're gonna get fined for that. So,
We do have smoke heads in the senior center, correct?
they don't work.
They absolutely, the smoke detectors work.
Yeah.
In the senior center, you're 100% sure about that?
That the smoke detectors work?
Yes. In the senior center, forget about the rest of the building.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4 of them in the senior center, with a fire alarm panel in the back room. The fire alarm panel is not fired up, and if they don't work. That's why I brought that up a couple of months ago. Now, unless somebody's gone back and made it work,
Wait, Dean, did we, install? I thought we did.
We
there's 4 of them
installed,
there.
smoke detectors, yes, and carbon monoxide detectors.
Yeah.
Are they battery
They're not,
operated?
yeah, they're not hooked up to any system.
No, but, right, they're battery operated.
Right, so right now, during a storm, if we had lightning and it hit that building, the only way you're gonna know is if Mount Hope PD's in the building and said, oh geez, we got a fire. But, you know, it's, every year when a contract comes due, then you can change that year to another vendor. But I would not wait to get all that, because yes, we wanna go with Charlie Brown vending for an alarm system. But the contract for this building is December, contract for that building.
Yeah, I'm not worried about when the contract's in. I'm worried about actually getting 3 prices, because this is the 6th time we went through this.
Right,
3
but also,
prices that are actually apples to apples and not apples to oranges. So, 3 companies, we've told them all the same exact thing, and they come back. One guy is $600 because he's in listen. One guy is $3,000 because he actually has everything, so.
Take somebody and go with them then. I'm just looking after your concern, you know, your building. I could care less who you go with, but it's,
well, I mean, Adam and I went over this together, and as long as the occupancy level is under 299, you know, the smoke detectors that we have in there is perfectly fine as far as that portion of the building. So, I mean, And there's never anyone in there with that kind of numbers. So,
Again, I
right, I understand what you're saying, but.
If I just want to interject a little bit, for the record, Adam McCarty, Assistant Building Commissioner. If that building's occupied and there's systems in there, then yes, Paul is correct, the system has to work. If they're not required to be there, they can be removed in their entirety, and then the battery operated ones will be sufficient. So if you have the two options, so if it's there, it's got to work, Paul's correct. Julie's also correct saying that the battery ones are fine, but you can't do both. You got to be one or the other. That's it.
So right now, we're okay, just to make sure I understand this, but if we upgrade, we need to put something in.
Last time I was in there, we made the notes of the deficiencies, but I don't know where it
Right,
stands.
that's the whole thing. It was my understanding that we were okay and we were just gonna process along and wait till the contracts came due, have everything all on one contract, you know.
What is it, the dial-in that's not working, or where is the deficiencies in what the current system panel
The
is?
fire alarm panel itself is not fired up and functioning. So that means the 4 smokes that are on it are not fired up or functioning.
And that's the only thing that's on those panels, and that was a dial-out panel?
Local dial.
Oh, it was local,
It was installed 20 years ago.
so it's not even going to a central monitoring station, so basically it is its own self-contained unit.
Right.
So removing it would be advantageous to us instead of having a company come in and.
Right. I just brought it up 2 months ago, 3 months ago, because they did a nice job remodeling the senior center, and I'd hate to see something in the kitchen catch on fire and destroy the senior center.
Hey, I'm all
Just
for a
spend
full
money.
fire alarm building, and that's great,
Yeah.
that's a good thing, it lowers your insurance rates, it's a great thing.
That's-
It's up to the board whether they wanna spend the money to
Right.
do that, but if you're gonna pay the money to do the system that's there, which is antiquated, I don't think that's worth it. Bring the system up to current code, put a pull station in there, so when their building is full of people, and there is a problem, that it can dial out, and again, you don't have to do the phone lines, you can do the internet, so there are other ways to do this.
Right.
And we can write, that the town can come up with a bid of what they wanna have installed.
That's the process they were in.
Right, that's
Yeah.
the process that
That's
we're
the
in.
process they were in.
So that's what we've gotten, and we were gonna upgrade also. So I guess we're just further along in the process, but I mean, we can make a decision on that portion of the building. I mean,
But it's still protected, it's just, that older system is not working.
right.
I mean, if you got a vendor in the police department side, regardless of you just let them extend it to that side. You already vended, it's already there. And then if you don't like that vendor, or you wanna combine the whole building for one vendor, at that point, fine, but I don't wanna see you lose everything you put into that building. Yes, you got smokes and they're battery operated, but who's gonna hear them at 2 o'clock in the morning?
But the old antiquated system is not gonna do the same thing either.
No,
That's why
but-
upgrading it
Right.
to a
Absolutely.
dial-out is gonna be the key.
Absolutely. But if you put it on the vending system that's in the PD now.
Oh, they're already monitored,
Yeah,
Paul?
they're monitored.
Yeah.
Chief, excuse me?
That was one of the estimates we got. The problem was the other ones didn't do that. So we can't award the bid because the 3 of them aren't the same.
So you
they have to start
basically
the
have to add on
process
to
over.
what your system is there at the police department, chief, and then
Right.
just, you can do an unseated panel where those points are gonna be enunciated
Right,
towards
But
the
we didn't
senior
get the same,
portion
we
or
didn't
to
get
the
the
core
same
or however you
information
want it
from
handled.
all 3 companies, so there were 3 completely different estimates.
Okay.
So we have to start all over to get 3 comparable estimates.
You know what, so why don't we revisit this at the next meeting? Adam and I will powwow about it, and we'll
We'll know something.
have an answer for the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, just checking, thanks.
Yep, anybody else? Angel?
Yeah, I just want to make a statement that I mailed a correspondence to the entire board, and I did not hear Kathleen didn't say that it had been received, so I'm very surprised by that. So, to be continued.
Okay.
I have one thing, the alarm system at the old school, has that been?
We had to send an actual letter, we verbally told them, but we had to send a letter.
Day of closing, how's that for?
Well, which leads me into my next thing, so we went to the closing, congratulations to the Friends of the Otisville School. We had the closing a week ago Friday. I handed them the great big wad of keys, and we took a few pictures, and spent all of that time together, and I forgot to tell them the alarm code. So, yeah, I also received the call and I walked them through disarming it, so kind of funny. And that's really my board comments. But yes, again, congratulations to the Friends of the Otisville School, and congratulations to Anna on making sergeant. And that's all I have. Matt, what do you have?
I find it a little disturbing, a little aggravating, when a board member requests documents which we have to vote on, they're not provided. Gotta be asked again. I don't think it allows, due diligence allows me the time I would like to put into the decision, but what's done is done. So I just think when you submit a request in writing for documents in writing, it would have been nice to have that extended to you. So that's my comment for the evening.
I have two comments. I'll second what Matt just said. One other thing, hot off the press, there's a Russian festival at the KOA campground this weekend. So we'll see what happens on the 19th when we have the next meeting to see if anyone complains. I guess they had an overwhelming amount of people. And when I say overwhelming amount of people, anyone that wants to take a ride by that campground and see, there's tents like every 2 feet. It's, I happen to camp there and it's wow, to say it nicely.
Vodka's good though, right?
What's that?
The vodka's good.
No comment. I just want to talk about the proposal, and I'd like to push this to the next meeting because I have some information about the Ketchum fence proposal that I think the whole board should know about, but we'll postpone that to the 19th. I'm glad that we did get an estimate from Ketchum, so they're kind of, we have 4 estimates now, but that's all I have.
Janet?
Nothing.
Dominic?
Old School Committee, congratulations to them. And we do have some documentation that I had given to KC on the asbestos testing. I'll ask them for that back so you guys can have it. And I think any documentation Kathleen has in the archives that go with the school, you guys could have, so that if you need it for anything down the road, you got something to refer back to. So we can have Kathleen, you can look through all the paperwork that we have from the school and forward over to them.
Mm-hmm. And Chris, I just want to say this since you're the only one in the audience that I'm going to pick out. I don't know if you're using the same keys that all the boards had, but I'll be more than happy to take some keys off that ring I don't know if you're using the same lock or what you're using, but I'll be more than happy to take 1 or 2 off here if
Okay.
Yeah, we all have a key.
And congratulations.
The same lock.
Thank you. We actually did get the door to work, because we got the old key out.
Yeah.
That was broken off there, so we didn't change any locks, so.
Awesome.
Could I ask what documents Matt's referring to?
David, I guess the board made a motion on the documents, they're now public knowledge. Stuff we discussed in executive session. Is that something we can?
I don't know which ones we're talking about.
Jack, did you sign it?
Yep.
I mean, the terms of the employment would be public, any personal information otherwise contained, I mean, now that you voted on it.
The town has been, or the board has been, in the process of the sergeant's promotion, and through some emails, I had requested specifically what the board's, or what the proposal would be, the board would approve. And that wasn't, I mean, it's pretty clear that the document should be in writing for the board to have. Where in the chain of communication that didn't get to its originating point where the document came from to come to the board, I don't know. But I think to have to say, can we see something that we have to vote on at the 11th hour is just a little, in my opinion, a little out of order. To be in the, I won't say completely in the dark, but to say, well, we've got documents here that we want you to approve, but we haven't shown them to you. That's what got me.
you have a lot of documents on any subject, so I didn't put down a spot.
I'd like to add one more thing. There was a car show tonight, which obviously got canceled, because of the weather over at, Middlesex Schools, the middle school. Chris Corwin, if you know anything about Chris Corwin, who passed away. It got pushed until next Monday, the 12th, so we're not gonna have a meeting between now and then, but I just wanted to throw it out there. That's all I got.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes, that's Mel,
Me too, that's why I wish you didn't know. I asked.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Roder, thank you, how are you? I almost wanted to come up with Mary, can I tell you?
Oh, thank you.
I was really Ray Ramona.
I'm sure that's Jerry, good to see you.